Hi everybody, my name's Peter, otherwise known as Britjet on the PSX forums. I'm a retired BA 747 pilot, playing with PSX, although I'm not sure that's the right word because it's so realistic. Certainly got me hooked, and I thought I'd put together some videos showing some aspects of the operation of the 747 which might not be immediately obvious from the various manuals that you can get your hands on. A health warning, any pros watching this are trying to glean some information for your next check. Please don't, just use your own SOPs and your own knowledge. I'm sure it's equally as good as mine, if not much better. This is just for fun, okay? This particular approach is onto 27 left at Heathrow, all locked on. And ATC are going to tell us, or ask us, to go for 27 right. Now there are some bottom lines to this. Don't do it in bad weather. You've got to be able to see the other runway. And don't try and do it below 2,000 feet. You're going to run out of time to get everything sorted for a nice approach. Technical aspects of this are that on the 747, once the glide slope is captured like this, the basic flying modes on the MCP are locked out to save you messing up the approach with finger trouble. So altitude hold, VS, heading hold, flitch, they don't work. Similarly, you can't select another ILS frequency. So if I go to departures arrival and try and select another ILS, you can't. Again, it's to stop finger trouble. The other thing I'd like you to bear in mind is the alt cell. Now the alt cell doesn't do anything once the glide slope is captured. Again, that's deliberate. If we're going to take that glide slope out at some stage, however, the alt cell becomes live and it can get seriously in the way of a further approach. So, how are we going to get from 27 left to 27 right? Well, we could just fly a go around, tell ATC to stuff it. Or we could say, well, it's a nice day, we've got time, let's go for 27 right. You've obviously got to take out the automatics. You can't reprogram at this stage. You can take them out and just throw it at the other runway visually. Yeah, that's one way. It's a bit messy. Or the way I'm going to show you is putting the automatics back in and getting everything sorted so that it's nice and stable by 1,000 feet with all the checks done. Now I've deliberately not put the gear down yet and we haven't got landing flap, just to show you how the workload ramps up on this approach. So, we are going to take out the automatics this way. You have to switch off both flight directors. You have to take out the autopilot. That resets the system. If you then put the flight directors back on, the system will come back in with lock replaced by heading hold, or possibly at if you had some bank on, and glide slope replaced by vertical speed, the vertical speed you're doing. The autothrottle stays in, of course, so that's great. We're going to leave it there. Once you've got those basic modes, you can re-engage the autopilot again and steer it to the other runway using heading, cell and VS, bearing in mind the other runway might be further away or closer. While this is going on, the other pilot can select the other ILS now because it's unlocked. He can identify it, and then you can use localizer and approach in the normal way to get yourself on the ILS. While all this is going on, you've got to get the aircraft configured and put that alt cell back where it needs to be. All by 1,000 feet. Now, to help the workload a bit, we can preset our heading that we want to go on, like this. Nothing's going to happen yet. You can also select the departures arrival page, ready to go. And that's about it. Let's see how we get on. I'll let the aeroplane run. We're approaching 2,000 feet, and ATC say, can we take 27 right? We'll say, yes we can. So I'm going to select the gear down now, get things moving. We're approaching 2,000 feet. I'm going to wind the alt cell right up, out of the way. In fact, I'll put it at 3,000 feet. Take the flight directors off. Take the autopilot out. Put the flight directors back on. There's our basic modes. Re-engage the autopilot. Heading, hold and VS. Press heading cell. The airplane sets off. select the other ILS, execute, and hopefully identify it. Adjust your VS where you want it. Looks good at the moment. Make sure the ILS is identified. Arm the localizer. Select the landing flaps. Bring the speed back to the bug. Wait for the localizer to capture. There it is.
Localizer active.
Select approach. The go-around height is incorrectly and ask for the checklist.
Landing checklist. Speed brake.
Armed.
Quarter brake.
Is armed. 3, sorry.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
25.
Cabin crew.
They are signalled. There we are, all done. Locked on, land 3, approaching 1,000 feet. Go-around altitude is set. Checklist is completed. As we approach 1,000 feet now, I just say 1,000. The aircraft is stable. We're clear to land. All happened very quickly. I'll be honest with you, it took me 3 or 4 takes to get this right, but it's very satisfying when you do. Give it a go, see how you get on. Thanks for listening.